You watch the shows, right? Narcos, El Chapo. You see the gold-plated 1911s and the mansions, and you think that's the game. But honestly, that's the recruitment poster. That is not the reality. Because a cartel isn't a gang, not anymore. It's a Fortune 500 company where HR solves problems with acid baths. And in this machine, you aren't a person. You're a gear, usually a disposable one. Let's start at the bottom, the pavement. Level 1, the Halcone, the Hawk. Picture this, you're 15 years old. You aren't holding a rifle. You're holding a warm soda sitting on a cheap plastic chair outside an OXXO in Culiacan. To the average tourist, you're just a kid wasting time. But to the plaza boss, you are a biological CCTV camera. Your job is actually boring, mind-numbingly boring. You watch the road.
You see the local cops roll by and they wave at you. Why? Because they're on the payroll. We don't worry about them. You're looking for the trucks that don't wave, the Marines, or the rival SUVs, the Snakes. For this anxiety, you get maybe $100 a week, cash, no tax. To a kid, that's a fortune. To the organization, you are cheaper than the bullets they'd use to replace you. And here's the catch. One day, you look down to check TikTok, just for a second. A convoy slips past. You freeze. You forget to radio it in. 30 seconds later, a truck pulls up. The guy inside doesn't scream at you. He doesn't have to. He just looks at you with dead eyes and tells you that next time, they'll leave you in the desert. And that's when it hits you.
That cold feeling in your stomach? That's the realization that your life is worth less than a prepaid text message.
So, you graduated. You're 18 now. That cheap plastic chair you sat in for 12 hours a day watching for cops, that's ancient history. Now, you're sitting high up in the cab of a white semi-truck. It started random. A guy approached you at a gas station, just asked if you knew how to drive stick. Simple question. But now it's 6 a.m. You're at a warehouse on the south side, and the trailer is stacked floor to ceiling with watermelons, fruit for the grocery stores up north. But we know better, right? Because underneath those melons, welded into a false floor, what the insiders call a clavo, is 500 kilos of methamphetamine. Your route is Sinaloa to Tijuana. It's an 8-hour stretch of asphalt that feels less like a road and more like a tightrope over a pit of vipers.
Every time headlights pop up in your rearview, your stomach drops through the floorboards. You become obsessed with your speed, your blinkers, even the rhythm of your own breathing. Because of the federales pulling you over, you're looking at 20 years in the concrete box before your life is even really started. But then, you make it. You hit the designated drop-off. Men you've never seen unload the truck in silence. One of them hands you an envelope, $3,000. That's more money than your father earned in a whole year before the cartel killed him for his land. And honestly, this is the most dangerous moment. Not the drive, it's what happens next. You do it again. The fear dulls. It gets replaced by routine. And that is the trap. That comfort is legal. Your cousin got sloppy at a checkpoint last month. Just once.
And now, he's doing 15 years in Altiplano. And the cartel? They didn't send a high-priced lawyer. They just went back to that gas station to find another kid who can drive. You've put in 2 years behind the wheel. No accidents, no police contact, and this is the big one, you never skimmed a single ounce off the top. In this line of work, reliability isn't rewarded with a pension. It's rewarded with blood. So the boss takes the truck keys. He hands you a chrome-plated 9 and a piece of paper with a list of names. You aren't a ghost in the logistics chain anymore. You're the hands. You're the cobrador. Your job is simple. You walk the plaza. The taco stand, the pharmacy, the high-end nightclub, everybody pays piso, the protection tax. It's not an ask, it's the rent for existing on this territory. The pharmacy drops $2,000 in an envelope. The club drops 10. Most of them hand it over without saying a word, eyes glued to the floor tiles.
They know the physics of the street better than you do. But eventually, you hit a snag. Some restaurant owner tells you margins are thin, asks for an extension. You don't get mad. You nod, polite as a priest, and walk away. Then you come back at midnight with 2 heavy hitters. You don't just break a window, you dismantle the man's life. You smash the tables, burn the books, and beat him unconscious in his own kitchen. The next month, he pays double. Now you're clearing $1,500 a week. You buy a used Beamer, maybe a house for your mom. She cries when she sees it, sure. But notice how she never asks where the money comes from. That silence is heavy. You have the cash, you have the fear, but you've just painted a target on your back. To the rivals, you're the enemy.
To the fids, you're low-hanging fruit. Every time you step out of that car, you're exposed.
So you hit 25, and suddenly, you weren't the guy knocking on doors collecting envelopes anymore. You're the guy in the back of the SUV, tinted windows up, checking a burner phone every 30 seconds. This is level 4, the Jefe de Célula. And honestly, it's not the party you thought it was. You're managing a cell of 10 guys, purely logistics. The organization hands you 100 kilos of product a month. Your job is to break it down, move it, and make sure the cash flows up without a single dollar sticking to the wrong fingers. You keep 10%. On a good month, that's 100 grand in your pocket. But here's the thing about that money. It's not for Ferraris. It's a chaos budget. Because when a rival crew tries to push into your plaza or they clip one of your lookouts, you don't wait for orders.
You handle it.
No delays.
You send a truckload of shooters to a bar where the rivals hang out. They spray the place. 12 people dead. 5 of them were just civilians grabbing a beer after work. I know some of you watching this are thinking, how do you sleep at night? The truth is, you don't. You see it on the national news, the government promising a crackdown. But you know the local commander is already paid off. The heat flickers and dies. You've got the house with the pool, the girlfriend who thinks you're in construction. But behind the gate, you're babysitting a nest of snakes. Your men are young, dumb, and high on the product. And the regional boss? He doesn't care about your problems. He wants profit. If you miss a quota, you aren't fired. You're erased.
You control a city now. Maybe it's Reynosa, maybe Nuevo Laredo. It doesn't actually matter because the job is the same. You aren't touching the product. You aren't getting your hands dirty. In fact, that gold-plated 38 Super on your hip, it's a paperweight. You haven't fired it in years. Because here's the thing, you're not a gangster anymore. You're a politician with a death squad. You're a shadow governor. When the boss wants to take a state, you don't send shooters, you send envelopes. You sit down with the police chief, or you send a guy to sit down, and you give them the classic choice, silver or lead. And honestly, they almost always take the silver. It's just business. But the money becomes a problem, a real headache.
You're pulling in 200 grand a month, cash, and you can't exactly walk into a bank and open a savings account. You have to wash the blood off it. So you buy things you don't need. Car washes, construction companies, massive ranches that do nothing but breathe clean air over your dirty money. And then, the silence starts. I know some of you think this is the dream, right? Unlimited power? But listen to me. Your lawyer sends a human courier to tell you the DEA has tapped your primary lines. You smash your phones. You go dark. Suddenly, you're in a room with your top lieutenants, guys you raised in this life, and you realize something terrifying. They aren't looking at you with respect anymore. They're looking at your chair. They're doing the math on how much blood it costs to replace you. You sleep 4 hours a night, one eye open, realizing your only peers are the men trying to kill you.
You run an entire state. Every drug shipment, every targeted murder, and every high-level bribe in the territory is processed through your office. You have 500 men under your command, and you generate $20 million a month for the organization. But you have become a ghost. Your face is no longer known to the public. You don't do interviews, and you don't appear in photos. You live in a mountain compound protected by 20-foot walls, armed guards, and attack dogs. Your work is now pure politics. You negotiate with other plaza bosses to avoid unnecessary wars that disrupt the supply chain. You meet with governors and generals. You don't threaten them. You make them partners. You offer a share of the empire, a suitcase with $2 million, or a piece of the profit.
For the few who refuse, you use leverage, photos of mistresses or evidence of their own corruption. If they still stand in your way, they simply cease to exist. You are a CEO of a global logistics firm. You coordinate cocaine from Colombia, precursor chemicals from China, and heroin from the poppy fields in the mountains. You manage tunnels, semi-submersibles, and drone fleets. Personally, you take home $1 million a month, but money has lost its meaning. It is just a number on an encrypted screen. You have everything you could want and nothing you actually need. You cannot attend your daughter's wedding. It is a tactical nightmare. You cannot visit your mother's grave. Snipers are likely waiting. You live in a golden cage, and the paranoia is a physical rot. You execute 2 of your most loyal men based on a whispered suspicion.
In the back room of the elite, it is better to be a murderer than a victim.
At the end of the ladder, there is no retirement. There is only the system. If you are lucky, you end up in a 6-by-9-foot cell in ADX Florence, Colorado, 23 hours a day in a concrete box where the sun is a memory and the silence is your only companion. You had billions, but now you have a steel toilet and the rest of your life to count the ghosts of the people you stepped on to get there. If you are unlucky, you are the message hanging from a bridge, a warning to the next person who thinks they can outrun the machine. But the cartel doesn't die with you. Your nephew takes your place. Your lieutenant takes your house. The drugs keep flowing, the money keeps moving, and the bodies keep piling up. The cycle is indifferent to your name.
You were the king for a moment, but now you are just a cautionary tale, a ghost story told to children in Culiacan to keep them from sitting on that plastic chair. But as the sun sets, there is always another 15-year-old waiting for his phone to buzz. He thinks he's different. He thinks he can reach the top without falling. He doesn't realize that in the back room, the house always wins. And the house is built on bone. Understand the system. See the consequence.